As a police research and forensic detective, I had been assigned to a case to research a chemical called aeter-salutin. The chemical was designed to act as a substitute for food and water and was to be injected intravenously. Depending on the dosage, as long as it was stable dose, it could keep its patient alive for hours, surviving for long details. What I'm about to share with you is my findings, and it is personally classified. Aeter-salutin was introduced into the black market in 2009 by an unknown party. It was not medically classified, though its Latin roots mean eternal survival. Since it wasn't exactly known to give anything other than medical benefits for wilderness survival, the Bitcoin sales record provided showed that the item didn't sell well to anyone, as it had no realizable benefits, as an overdose could easily kill you. But another chemical was introduced not a year later called nevenenum, or anti-poison, which could prevent overdoses, preventing the poisons from reaching the body and immediately killing them. However, before it could be used for positive use, at the same time, almost all stocks of nevenenum and aeter-salutin were purchased together by a corporation called Helmut Co. I could find next to no information on said company, other than an abandoned building used as their headquarters off the coast of Antigua, most likely a guise for purchases. In 2010, our firm immediately attempted to pursue the information to create both of these chemicals, seeing as their use could easily benefit comatose patients. But Helmut Company had seemed to have purchased the rights to the formulas of both at that time, and the seller was nowhere to be found. The last recorded Bitcoin purchase was in 2011, when another purchase of nearly all shipments of a drug that induced a death-like chance, legally causing the victim to be dead for periods of 3 to 4 days, nicknamed Marsh for its muddy texture. It was to be injected as well, as the victim would have a psychedelic high before passing out for up to 3 days, before their heart would jumpstart itself and the user would have a hangover. Helmut seemed to have bought $100 million worth of the drug, again from an unknown supplier. Extensive research was conducted to find the suppliers, but 0 leads turned up. Because of how suspicious Helmut had seemed to us at the time, we spent weeks to create a warrant and negotiating with Antigua government officials and police departments to let them investigate the site. The building was about 3 stories high and looked like a mental hospital due to the fact it had no windows, just concrete walls, a door on the front side, and Helmut painted on the top of the building's front wall. It was eerie, but we moved into the building. There were no lights in the building, no light bulbs, flashlights, just empty rooms on the first floor. We had several high-powered voltage lanterns set around the area. The entire area was completely barren, but somehow extremely well kept. Concrete floors, walls, and no light source. But what we found on the 2nd and 3rd floor was extremely disturbing. The team took a flight of stairs made of concrete, just like the walls. On the 2nd floor were about 7 or 8 large warehouse-like rooms. Each contained hundreds translucent barrels of liquids. The rooms being labeled either aeter-salutin, nevenenum, and marsh. Most of these barrels happened to be empty. Our firm could not take them, as they were embedded into the floor with some extremely strong method that proved impossible to budge. Not wanting to try to get them out the hard way, we moved up to the 3rd floor through a flight of concrete stairs. There, we found an even larger single warehouse room labeled coffins, painted crudely in red, As it stated, the room was filled with steel coffins. We opened a few to find human-shaped molds. There were thousands upon thousands, but we took 3 of the coffins with us, as they were not embedded into the ground like the barrels, and later took this to our research firm. The first coffin had a mesomorphic shape, about 5'10" tall, most likely designed for an adult male. Its design was made from a basic iron coated with soundproof material and a lock that could be opened from the outside, but wouldn't budge from the inside, as we had an agent test it. We placed a loud audio device inside the coffin. The soundproofing in the coffin was so well done that even an 18,000 hertz noise proved to be completely inaudible from inside the coffin. The other 2 coffins were the same, except the second coffin had an endomorphic shaped coffin at 6'2" to accommodate a male, and an ectomorphic shaped coffin at 5'8" to accommodate a female. We agreed that Helmut's operating building had to be destroyed. We returned to Antigua 2 days after conducting our research. When we returned to where we were before with the demolition crew, the entire Helmut building had disappeared completely without a trace. No prints, no DNA trace, not even concrete. And we had conducted heavy investigation with top-notch tools within the barricaded perimeter for 16 hours. It was gone entirely, but it was only a day after we discovered what Helmut really was. You see, marsh would be used to put the human in a trance-like sleep and accommodate them to be put into the coffin. Salutin would be applied in heavy dosages to cause the person to survive for years on end, while using nevenenum to prevent the victim from overdosing. They would use the victim's sleeping period to put them in the coffin to apply these 2 chemicals, and the coffin would be buried in an undisclosed area. When the victim would wake up in their mold and would be completely unable to move, the victim would scream as loud as they could in the coffin, but the soundproofing would suppress their screams completely. It was some form of sadistic torture not even we could understand. The victim would live for years on end, completely barred from moving before they finally died after starvation or dehydration, for years of complete imprisonment like paralysis. There are possibly thousands of these victims now spread across locations over the world, completely unknown and without any form of help, as they are completely locked inside. If you're offered a drug called marsh, do not consume it. Report it to your local authorities immediately. Agonizing death awaits.